Steeler Thoughts and Chief Feelings Film Review. I'm Ajay Nair, the Chiefs fan and psychiatrist. We've had a lot of content this week. Earlier this week, we posted a film review of the Steelers-Bills preseason game, and we posted our 18th podcast that came out yesterday. And today, we have a film review of the early portion of the Chiefs-Lions preseason Week 2 game. We've been focusing mainly on the starters' performances for the Chiefs. We've got a couple plays to break down, so let's get to it. We're starting here with a play from the first drive. The Chiefs are in a third down here, and as you can see, they are in 11 personnel, meaning they have one running back and one tight end. So with the two of them, that leaves 3 wide receivers. We've got Xavier Worthy over here. We've got Rashee Rice over here. And we've got Justin Watson out wide on the left. Okay, so right now the Lions have 2 safeties back. So kind of showing a split safety look. Let's run this a little bit. Kelsey gets set with Worthy off the line. And Xavier Worthy is going to motion over, and you see his defender running with him, which is an indication of man coverage. And let's see the play that the Chiefs are going to run. So what they're going to do is Justin Watson is going to run a whip route, which means you come in and then cut out to the boundary, kind of sell that inside route and hope to get your defender on your inside and then cut out to get open there. Rashee Rice is going to run like a deep over. Xavier Worthy is going to run a corner route. And Travis Kelsey is going to chip the end and then run like a drag route over the middle. This concept Isaiah Pacheco is going to come out and run an angle route. So this concept trying to beat man coverage. The first thing we note is, if you saw it right there, watch Xavier Worthy as he comes across. He clearly false starts right there. Moving forward there at the snap, that's at the very least a legal procedure. So that should have been flagged and the play stopped, but it was missed. And then, as you see on this play then, as the play starts, we've got this safety rotating back, so it's actually a cover 1 look, not a split safety. So they kind of showed 2 high safeties. This safety is rotating down, and it looks like he's playing over the bunch side. So oftentimes when you run a cover 1, you're going to have like a safety, one safety deep, and the other will play like a robber in the middle of the field. If you see, this guy is kind of, since there are 3 wide receivers out here, he seems to be more playing robber on that side of the field. We see Kelsey chipping the end over here. Justin Watson has come in to start, and then he's going to pull back out. Rashee Rice has started his over, and here comes Worthy, ready to run his corner route. As Worthy comes through, Mahomes reaches the back of his drop. What does Mahomes see here? He sees that Worthy is already past his defender, and this guy's flat-footed, so nobody's going to be there. And Mahomes makes his throw and completes a long pass to Xavier Worthy. This is already something like beyond what we've seen, in 2023 from the Chiefs deep passing game, although this is the kind of route that Justin Watson would run last year. But look how seamlessly Worthy is able to get a step on his defender. It's so quick. Like, you're going to see defenses are not going to be willing to get their defender down here in that robber role, because it's just so easy to run by him for Worthy. I think we're going to go back to seeing a lot of split safety looks, because this is too easy for a guy as fast as Worthy. You're going to need this guy to drop back and get depth. Which will hopefully open things up underneath for Kansas City. So, long pass completion to Worthy. If we're going to see the end zone view of this, Well, actually, before we do that, if we go back, the other thing I wanted to note is let's take a look. This is Mahomes right as he gets to the back of his drop and ready to throw. Let's look at the scenario he's looking at. So, like we said, defender flat-footed. There's no way he's going to get back in time. Worthy's already got him beat, so Mahomes knows he can make this throw. Watson actually won pretty well. Like if you look, the defender is a little bit inside if you look at their feet relative. So this throw is possible. Kelce is about to win on his drag, and Rashee Rice is about to win over here. So Mahomes actually has a ton of options if he wanted. Patrick Mahomes is obviously going to take the deep route, but at the moment he's starting to launch this throw, he has got options. All right, and then so from the end zone view, we see their formation. Again, Worthy comes across. That triggers that it's man coverage. And then let's see the pocket that Mahomes gets over here. So first thing to note is Mahomes kind of dropped a little bit far back to kind of give Worthy extra time. Mahomes has talked about this, how he has a tendency of drifting backwards in the pocket, and it seems like that happened here. And the reason why I'm thinking that is if you look on this, Mahomes is right. Travis Kelce chips the end, and that kind of shoves the end a little wider around the arc. And Lucas Niang, if you look at the depth that he's at right here, he seems fairly content to let the defensive end go around at this depth. But if you look, it's kind of right at the depth where Mahomes is. So my guess is Mahomes is probably supposed to be a little bit ahead of that so that Niang can kind of push him around the arc. That would be my guess. It's possible that Niang just made a mistake on his depth, but we know that Mahomes has talked about the fact that he drifts in the pocket. So that would be my guess as to what happened there. Otherwise, Trey Smith seems to handle his matchup pretty well here, not giving up ground. Mike Caliendo kind of initially gave up a little ground. He got a little support from Creed. And Kingsley Suamataia did what Seth Kaiser over at KC Sports Network and the Chief of the North calls losing slowly. If you lose slowly, that gives the quarterback enough time to make his throw. So not a problem. Big pass completion to Xavier Worthy. So the next play we're going to review just a little later in the drive. Here we have the Chiefs set up in shotgun, and this is 12 personnel. We've got one running back, and the two tight ends are right next to each other right here. So with one running back and two tight ends, that means you have two wide receivers, and we've got Xavier Worthy, and we've got Justin Watson over here. Okay, and what are they looking at? Right now, we've got one safety back pre-snap. Doesn't look like we're going to get any pre-snap motion, but look right at the snap, the second safety drops back. So it looks like, and this safety starts coming wide, it looks like what we're going to be seeing is a cover 2 look. Since we didn't have pre-snap motion from the Chiefs, the question then will be whether the Lions are running man or zone. And if you look, we've got the linebackers dropping. They don't seem to be directly going with a man. And if you look even here in the bunch set, where they lined up, it's not like you have two people kind of standing up over the receiver. So this looks like a cover 2 zone. So with the cover 2 zone, usually the areas that people try to attack are, depending on these corners, in the cover 2 zone, corners often either defend the flat or they kind of back up and have cloud coverage. And so you'll have a safety kind of deep on one side, a safety deep on the other side. If the corners come up, then you have this what they call the hole shot on either side in between the flat corner and the deep safety. If the corners drop, then you have the flat open. And in both cases, because the safeties kind of are both out wide, you often have the deep middle open. And usually the person who's responsible for running with anybody in the deep middle is the middle linebacker. So if someone kind of threatens the middle of the field, you'll often see the middle linebacker drop back. And that's kind of what we see happen on this play. So there goes your second safety back. Here come the Chiefs in their routes. And I want to watch Xavier Worthy here. Xavier Worthy is going to challenge that middle of the field. And so what's going to happen is the middle linebacker is going to drop back with him. So now we've just seen Xavier Worthy catch a big pass. They're going to take him very seriously. And so what that does is it drops the middle linebacker out of the picture. So now we have 3 defenders that are going to be way deep, which obviously makes fewer defenders available. And the Chiefs passing concept here does a great job of what we call like high-lowing the underneath defenders. So we know Worthy is going to clear out, and he's going to end up with this guy, and this guy, unable to make any play on an intermediate or short pass. Then look, we have Justin Watson, who's going to be in an intermediate area, and as you can see, he's already he's come up, found a hole in the zone, and he's going to sit. Travis Kelce did a similar thing on this side, and he's trying to find an open area. It looks like he's kind of decided on this one. Someone like Travis Kelce probably has a choice about whether he wants to come here or here. Noah Gray is underneath here, and Isaiah Pacheco has leaked out of the backfield and come here. So basically now you're causing these linebackers to have to make a decision, right? We talked about how these guys are deep. Now, these intermediate guys are going to have to start making a decision. Someone like Noah Gray is down there. So do you guys come up or do you lay back? It's called high-lowing a defender. And basically whatever they leave open is what the quarterback can take. So you see this linebacker kind of comes up. He doesn't want to give too much space to Pacheco. Justin Watson does a great job of finding an area in the zone to settle. So does Travis Kelce, but he's still a little behind this defender. He's trying to uncover. But Watson finds his zone, settles in. Mahomes finds him. Easy completion. So this is just a great play design against a zone defense. You take your fast guy, have him pull defenders away. So suddenly these are fewer defenders you have to contend with. You take 2 of your pass catchers and have them sit in intermediate zones, and 2 of your pass catchers are underneath. You kind of put these linebackers in conflict. They have to make decisions about whether they're going to come up or whether they're going to cover back and take the open space. You have smart, savvy pass catchers that are able to look at Noah Gray finding open areas, making themselves available to the quarterback. Justin Watson does so in an intermediate zone. Mahomes finds him. That's a good gain. Okay, and now for the end zone view. So you can see this time Mahomes really has a nice pocket to work with. Not really any tension from his standpoint. He drifts a little bit, but not much. Like Lucas Niang completely stoning his guy over here. Creed Humphrey doing the same. Trey Smith just going to help out. Look, Mike Caliendo and Lucas Niang over here. Provide a nice pocket. Mahomes can survey, find Watson. Easy completion. Well executed play by the Chiefs. All right, so we're still in the same drive, and now we're in the red zone, and the Chiefs have a 3rd down play here. So the Chiefs here are in 11 personnel. So as we discussed in our last Chiefs film review, it seems like the Chiefs are going into 11 personnel quite a bit. And as you know, that's every team's primary personnel package. Including the Chiefs, but the Chiefs have done 12 and 13 personnel with 2 and 3 tight ends more frequently than other teams have over the last couple years. But here we got 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. The 3 wide receivers are in a bunch set, and that becomes important because Only one guy is on the line of scrimmage. That's Justin Watson. So that gives free releases for Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. All right. And we see Pacheco had been out wide, but they're motioning him back in. And you can see a linebacker walking with him. If you look at how the lines are lined up, this is man coverage. This linebacker walking with Pacheco. He's on Kelsey. So man coverage. It looks like they have a single high safety, and it looks like this linebacker is probably going to play the underneath zone in kind of a cover one man situation. All right, and as everybody gets set, the Chiefs are going to run a route combination that is like classic Andy Reid. Andy Reid, when you run in man, loves to run crossers, cross you to death, and try to get defenders to run into each other. So what's going to happen is Rashee Rice is going to kind of challenge the safety running this route. Justin Watson is going to wheel out. Xavier Worthy is going to run a drag route. Kelsey is going to run the corresponding route in mesh. And Pacheco is going to kind of wheel out here. And actually, the way that the lines are lined up, it actually looks like this guy is going to guard Pacheco. So this may be our underneath guy. So let's watch these routes develop real quick. Okay, so here Watson's going out. Rice is challenging. Worthy's coming across. And Kelsey is getting ready to come across. And Pacheco's headed out. Now, you can see why Andy Reid does this. Because when you have man-to-man defense, it already puts defenders in a lot of conflict. So we know this is a zone defender, this is a zone defender. These two are kind of hanging. This guy's taken kind of deep. This guy's taken underneath the robber. But look at all of these defenders that are in the same kind of area. So 51 here, is running with Pacheco. And this gentleman is running with Worthy. And as we go here, they almost collide, leading to a situation where Xavier Worthy pops wide open. That's the point of kind of these routes. And so as you look, it looks like we're going to go into a situation where you have Worthy kind of coming free. There is an underneath defender right here. And Kelsey comes up on him and tries to challenge him a little bit, but he's got his back turned, so Kelsey keeps moving and again impedes the way of Worthy's defender, making it even more challenging for the defender to run to Worthy. However, what you would expect then to happen in this situation is Worthy's defender is so far behind him, he's going to come through. This is a zone defender. He's going to hang in the middle, and Worthy should pop wide open. However, the Lions have a nice adjustment to this play. So we said that this is our underneath zone defender. This is the guy that's guarding Worthy. This guy was already behind Worthy, but it becomes more so when Pacheco's guy, trying to keep up with Pacheco, is right to the outside, kind of gets in his way. Now watch what happens. This is Worthy's guy. This is the zone defender. As Worthy comes through the zone, they switch responsibility. And Worthy's covered by him. This guy takes over the underneath zone. So they realize, okay, we're trailing. Let's switch responsibility. This guy's able to put enough pressure on Worthy. Pass is incomplete. So it's a nice adjustment to this kind of chaotic route combination that's meant to make life really hard on man defenders. So when you get yourself into a situation where the man is trailing so much, well, why don't we take this guy and make him his man? Suddenly not behind it anymore. You can take over my responsibility, hang out in the middle in case you're needed there. And you can see this is a principle that they used multiple times, because watch what happens with Rashee Rice, who's going and challenging the safety. Rashee Rice comes up, and they end up doing the same thing. Rice's defender is behind him, so the safety picks up Rashee Rice here, right there, and you take over my single high responsibility. So an interesting adjustment in the red zone here that makes them less susceptible to these kind of crossing routes. If we want to watch it one more time. Pause it. So this guy and this guy are going to take over Worthy and Rice respectively, and their original assignments are going to take over the zones. They swap responsibilities, kind of helps them keep everything covered. Chiefs are not able to convert on third down. All right, so our next play, this is after a Chiefs field goal. The Lions now have the ball, and we've got the Chiefs first team defense in here. The Chiefs are currently in base personnel, which means they have 3 linebackers and 4 defensive backs on the field because the Chiefs almost always play with 4 down linemen. So we've got Trent McDuffie and Joshua Williams as our corners. We got Shamari Connor and Brian Cook as safeties. Here's Drew Tranquil. This is Jack Cochran, and this is Leo Chenal. So what the Chiefs are doing on this play, as you can see them, the Lions shift over. The Lions are in 12 personnel, which is why the Chiefs are in base. They've got 2 tight ends on the field. So the Chiefs are going to play cover 2 man. So we saw the Lions on a previous play cover 2, but they had a zone underneath. This is the Chiefs are going to have 2 split safeties, but they're manned up across the board. The corners got the wide receivers. Chenal's responsibility is the tight end. Tranquil's responsibility is the other tight end. And Cochran is over here with the running back. So they've manned everything up under the 2-man shell. But what I really want to pay attention to is what happens over here. So we've got Karlaftis lined up here over the outside shoulder of the left tackle. But right before the snap, he shifts so that he's up over the tight end, and Chenal shifts in. And what seems to happen with the Lions blocking assignments now is it isolates Karlaftis on a tight end. Karlaftis now is on the tight end, and you notice Chenal just kind of sitting in here, and it looks like he's occupying the left tackle, because if the left tackle attempts to come and help, Chenal's got a straight line to the quarterback. So it appears that the shift that they did right here had the purpose, or at least the result, of getting Karlaftis isolated on a tight end. And look what happens. Karlaftis is able to corner quickly and pressure this throw and completely blow up the play. Very interesting wrinkle here that makes it tough on Nate Sudfeld and results in an incomplete pass. We can see it again here. So see how right now Karlaftis is, you would imagine, the responsibility here depending on what the Chiefs end up doing, but oftentimes it's less than ideal to have an end lined up on a tight end, a defensive end, an edge, as they say. So look at that shift. So suddenly he becomes the tight end's blocking responsibility, and look at Chenal. Chenal just kind of hangs out here. My understanding is that offensive linemen are always instructed to block inside out. If you see, the tackle starts actually with hands on Tershawn Wharton, but he's kind of hanging in, and with Chenal staying here, he doesn't really have the ability to move out and leave him, because he could theoretically then have a straight line to the quarterback. So it leaves Karlaftis then isolated on this tight end, and the tight end is just not capable of blocking him. He's able to get in and force a hurried throw, resulting in an incomplete pass. Very interesting from Spags. This next play is I think this is kind of the defensive equivalent of when, Andy Reid loves his trick plays. He loves his misdirection, challenging plays horizontally, and sometimes with non-quarterbacks throwing passes, there are a lot of window dressing, and I feel like the end result is if the play goes well, people call him creative and a genius, and if the play doesn't go well, they call it too cute. And that's what happens on these kind of creative plays is you got to be able to take the bad with the good. When they work really well. When they don't work, they can look pretty ugly. And so this play is a very creative one set up by Spags. This is a third down. The Lions are in shotgun with one running back, and the Chiefs have their ends and tackles. Their tackles are out wide, kind of more almost playing in like a 5 technique position. And so what they end up doing at the snap is they end up blitzing both of their slot corners. Trent McDuffie, and in this case, Jaden Hicks is playing the slot. They blitz both of them, and to compensate, who's covering the middle of the field in this cover 2? So they're going to have this safety back. In general, it's kind of hard to play zone when you blitz because you're losing extra guys, right? You're losing this guy and you're losing this guy, and it becomes tough to just have people cover everybody else. So usually when people blitz, you either have man coverage or you have to take someone who's a typical rusher and replace the zone of the person that blitzes. So if we're going to play cover 2, then that means he's out here, he's out here. Normally he would either be taking the flat or he'd be dropping out here, and the same over here. He either takes the flat or he drops, and then the middle of the field is taken by these 3 guys, right? Well, and there are variations. Like sometimes this guy will take the flat and this guy will come, they have all kinds of variations on what can happen. But once you're going to lose this guy and this guy, then who's covering him? So either you go into more of like a man situation where it's like, okay, the safety is going to take this guy and maybe Tranquil is going to take him and we don't have immediate eyes on the running back, or this safety takes him, we don't have a deep safety at all, and this becomes a cover 0 blitz, right? Cover 0 meaning you don't have any deep safety. Well, what Spags' answer on this case is you blitz, you cover the slot flat area, and then we're going to have Karlaftis and Anyudike Uzoma drop back and kind of get in the way of passing lanes. Let's see what happens. All right, so here they come. Hicks coming, McDuffie coming, and you can already see Anyudike Uzoma and Karlaftis. Why are they doing what they're doing right now? They're coming in because the hope is that by simulating a rush at the very beginning, he occupies this tackle, and so the tackles will not blitz the defensive backs that are sprinting around them. The tackles will not block the defensive backs that are sprinting around them. Well, in this case, the tackle manages to engage Anyudike Uzoma. Then when he drops off, he manages to engage Hicks as well. On this side, McDuffie does get past the tackle, but he gets picked up by the running back. Well, this is not good, right? When you have this kind of creative blitz, you really want to get home immediately. And because you have 2 guys who are not good at covering in space. And as you can see, the blitz doesn't get home quickly enough. The receiver finds a gap between the 2 defensive ends, and they're able to complete a pass. So really, the ideal situation is, I don't know. I don't know that you can ask much more from a defensive end, because if you look at what Anyudike Uzoma is trying to do, he's getting in the passing lanes so that Sudfeld can't throw this now. And that's what you want, right? Like, he gets in the passing lane, but the problem is that blitz has to get home immediately. Hicks actually does a good job of shedding the tackle and getting in there, but it's just too much time. It's just too much time to ask a defensive end to cover in space. He gets out there, he's in the lane, complete a pass. It's just too much time. So nice creative blitz. Unfortunately, in order for it to work, one of your two guys kind of has to get home immediately. And in this case, that guy would have been this guy, Jaden Hicks, right? Because the back is on McDuffie's side. McDuffie is able to get past the tackle. Our ideal in this situation is that this tackle is occupied long enough that Hicks is able to get a free rush, but he wasn't in this case. He got impeded just long enough that the quarterback had enough time to find an opening between the two defensive ends who, coverage is not their job. They're going to cover for a little while for you, and that's all they got. All right, so we've got a third down play for the Lions, and let's see how the Chiefs defend this one. So the Chiefs are in their nickel. Nickel meaning that they have 5 defensive backs on the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and what they seem to be showing right here before the snap is single high coverage. It looks like Jaden Hicks is going to be the deep safety. Brian Cook has come down. Since he's over the top of the bunch, it looks like, and you have what looks like McDuffie on the tight end. Tranquil looks like he's covering the running back, so it seems most likely that Leo Chenal is the kind of robber zone defender in the middle. Jaden Hicks is deep, and you've got 1, 2, 3 manning up on 1, 2, 3. What the Chiefs do here is it doesn't seem like, because they're currently lined up such that it looks like Cook is here, here, here. But oftentimes in this situation with a bunch, because bunch routes are frequently run, the releases are run to kind of cross them over each other, which kind of makes it more likely that defenders could run into each other. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll set up who takes who based on which way the receivers go. So Najee Johnson looks just man to the outside, and it looks like Connor is here to take the person that breaks toward the inside, and Cook will take the one of these two that breaks more toward this side of the field. So if we watch here, the outside guy goes in, the inside guy goes out, and Cook seems to go, locks onto him. Connor follows him. And then the Chiefs do what we saw the Lions do in the red zone earlier. When you have a drag route running across Leo Chenal, who's the zone defender, they swap responsibilities. Leo Chenal takes the drag. Shamari Connor comes back. He's aware, because he was just standing over there, of this defender underneath, so he does a good job of kind of cutting in and taking away that passing lane. And ultimately, Nate Sudfeld feels the pocket collapsing around him. Because if you look, McDuffie, sticky coverage, Najee Johnson, sticky coverage. Connor was beat off the snap, but Chenal is there to take that man right there. And then this guy looks like he's getting open underneath Brian Cook, but Connor does a great job taking away that passing lane, and Sudfeld's out of time, and the pass ends up going incomplete. Now, and we've got the Chiefs in 11 personnel. They're in shotgun. They've got Kelsey out wide over here. Here we've got Rishi Rice in the slot, Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, and Carson Steele at running back. So 11 because 1 running back, 1 tight end. You've got 3 wide receivers. Rice comes over. Nobody runs with him. That's an indication that we've probably got a zone coverage here. You also see, so this guy kind of steps out, but it's not like we had a man defender run with him. You also see this guy dropping at the snap, so it looks like we've got a cover 2 zone. This guy will come out. This guy will come out. And it looks like we've got zones underneath. He will probably drop. And you can tell because the corners come up really tight, that this time the corners actually do seem like they're covering the flat. All right, so what are you doing against zone? We talked about it earlier. You want to challenge like multiple levels of the field, and you want to find soft spots. So what do the Chiefs do? They high-low this corner immediately. You got Justin Watson running here and Xavier Worthy kind of hitting the open gap. That's the kind of hole shot we talked about between the deep safety and the flat corner. This area is usually a good area to go in a cover 2 where the corner plays the flat like he is right here. So Worthy is coming out here. Justin Watson's coming here, making this corner make a decision. Additionally, not only are you putting this guy in conflict, you're putting this guy in conflict. Worthy's coming out here. Rashee Rice is cutting over to the middle. You see the middle linebacker is dropping back to kind of help with the deep third. So now this guy is also in conflict as he has to kind of look at both of these. Kelsey's coming through, and as you know, Kelsey is kind of able to make his own decisions, and he could either sit in this area or he might come through the middle, try to find a gap. But if you look, Mahomes is already hitting the back of his drop and making a decision. He sees that Rice is coming in and trying to settle on his own, Worthy's going out. I think reasonable people could disagree. I think with this guy, he'll hang on to Watson, and Rice here and Worthy running away from that defender, this might be the throw to make to some people, but Rice is here too, and Mahomes has more of a rapport with Rice. He finds Rice definitely open. I mean, this isn't a bad decision by any stretch of the imagination. Rice knows to make himself available with his quarterback, gets his hands up, easy catch. And this is why, with good play design and receivers that know what they're doing, a lot of teams are able to do very well against zone coverage. You really have these two that put him in conflict, and then these two put him in conflict, and ultimately one could argue both of these two are open when Mahomes throws. Mahomes picks Rice, easy catch, first down. Looking over at the end zone view, I think the big thing to note here is we're continuing to review Kingsley and see how he did in this game. I think this was another example on the snap. You can see here now with Rice moving over, nobody ran with him. Good indication for zone coverage. Kingsley, another example of kind of losing slowly. He kind of gets pushed back off his spot, moved back, but he's still able to slow the rush enough that Mahomes has the time to make this throw. Ultimately, when it's not a loss, it's a win. At least when you're an offensive lineman. All right, later on the same drive, we've got the Chiefs again in 11 personnel. This time the running back is Carson Steele and the tight end is Noah Gray. And then we've got 3 wide receivers. We've got Worthy down here, Watson, and Rashee Rice. The Lions doing what they did a lot at the snap, where they show single high and then rotate a safety. So you end up in cover 2. You already see the linebackers dropping back at the snap. This is cover 2 zone coverage. And the real question now is just whether the corners are hitting the flat or they're dropping off. This ends up being a pretty big, quick play, so it's hard to tell, but it kind of looks like the corners are dropping off. But you see again what happens when you have 2 kind of veteran wide receivers that are used to zone coverage. The Chiefs have already sent Worthy deep, and they have burned the Lions, and they seem to be content now running these 2 deep shells, and then the middle linebacker kind of coming up. So you're only having 4 guys underneath right here, and there are just lots of holes. So look at, in particular, Rashee Rice and Justin Watson. Watson comes out, turns in this hole, becomes available. Rice comes out, turns in the hole, becomes available. Easy throw and catch. And you can see this was kind of by design too, because if you notice, Lucas Niang over here actually cuts the defensive end. So usually when you're cutting the defensive end, you're opening a window for a short throw. So the defensive end can't jump and knock the throw down. So my guess is that he's cutting so that this throw would be very easy. But he's open. Find your soft spots in a zone. This is what veteran receivers that know how to deal with zone coverage do. Just too easy. And these are the kinds of things that become open when you have a deep threat like Xavier Worthy. Because the question is, well, what was going on last year? Well, I think Justin Watson was just as aware to read just as able to read zone coverages as he is now. Rashee Rice has probably improved, although definitely by the end of the year he showed great ability to do it there. But I think the big difference is last year we weren't having this guy back, this guy dropping. People were driving up to the ball, and so there weren't as many openings as there are now. But when you're afraid of him, you set up these coverages that lead to more openings underneath, and with smart wide receivers, you just sit in those zones, and that's it. Kelsey's another one that's really able to do that. Not much to note on the offensive line in this play because the throw was so quick, except, like we said, Niang cutting his guy, which makes me feel like he's opening a throwing lane for a potential pass to Watson. This play I find very encouraging. So one of the big things with the Chiefs last year, we talked about how it was hard for them to find openings in underneath zones because defenders didn't have to respect the deep ball very much. But it's also true, another reason why they didn't find openings in underneath zones is because teams played a lot of man coverage and dared them to beat them in man. And that's something that everyone outside of Travis Kelce really struggled with. Even Rashee Rice, who had a really great year and was able to do things like run crossing routes and run away from people. But he wasn't so great at, separating versus one-on-one man coverage. And here's a play that gives us some hope that maybe that might be different this year. I feel like Xavier Worthy looks like a candidate to beat man. We know that Travis Kelce can. Hollywood Brown can. He's shown it in his career, but now he's going to be out for the early part of the season, so it would be very nice for this offense and make it very difficult to defend this offense if Rashee Rice could reliably beat man. So here we have the Chiefs in 11 personnel again. Their one running back, again, is Carson Steele, and their tight end is Noah Gray, who's way out there. And they're going to run Rice in motion, leaving Gray in the Y ISO that we normally see Kelce in. And you see the guy running with Rice. So we've got man-to-man coverage. And we've got one deep safety. We've got a linebacker with eyes on Steele, and we've got our underneath zone defender. So let's watch Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice is going to run a whip route. And the way that a whip route is designed is it's designed to challenge the corner inside to make him feel like you're running a drag or a slant. Once you get the corner turned, then you pop back outside and come open. And if we watch Rice, threatens in, comes out, that is a win against man. He does a good job of selling it, but also being available for Mahomes quickly. So he takes that hard step in, plants the second foot in the ground, back around. And in the NFL, that's all the space you need for a quarterback like Mahomes to get you a throw. We see again the value of Worthy. Look at this safety has to dedicate so much attention to him. So when Brown is back, if teams decide to run single high and you run somebody up there, theoretically there's a lot of room on this side of the field. If the safety's having to commit so hard, it means that with, Brown and Worthy, teams are probably going to have to go too high, and they might end up having to do so even just with Worthy. But they went single high here, and fortunately there was, Noah Gray and Carson Steele on this side of the formation aren't really going to challenge you deep. But if teams go single high a lot, the Chiefs will make sure to have people that can challenge deep on both sides of the field. Worthy challenges deep. Rice wins on his whip route. And the Chiefs get a good gain against man coverage. Now here from the end zone view, you see Rice going in motion. You see the defender running with Rice, giving you the indication of man-to-man coverage. Again, a fairly quick throw. If we keep our eyes on Kingsley, he's able to redirect his man around the edge. Again, not the most beautiful snap, but see here, he gets hands on him. He does really get beat pretty quickly, actually, and around the edge, but he's able to redirect enough, and Mahomes is up enough in the pocket that he's able to get him around, and Mahomes can get the pass off. All right, well, this is the play that was talked about in this game. Before we make any commentary, let's just run it once and see it. The famous behind the back pass. And beyond the fact that it's just so much fun, and it's so amazing that he did that in a game, I wanted to break this one down because of the commentary that happened after the game about the pass. For those that aren't aware, actually during the game after Mahomes had come off the field, he was interviewed about this play and asked what happened. And Mahomes' explanation was that Kelsey ran the wrong route. He expected Kelsey to run to the flat, and he didn't. And so he, just out of frustration, whipped it behind his back because he had nowhere else to go with the ball. Kelsey didn't dispute this account of things, although Andy Reid said that this was throwing Kelsey under the bus and that this wasn't the case. But let's see what Mahomes was talking about. So here we are. The Chiefs are in 11 personnel again. One running back, one tight end. This time the tight end is Travis Kelsey. It's been Noah Gray the last couple plays. We got Worthy up top. We got Justin Watson, and we got Rashee Rice down here. So the Chiefs run a lot of plays from these kinds of formations. If you see, Mahomes is going to fake a handoff to Carson Steele. And a lot of times they will run, they sometimes have like a shovel. Oftentimes that's somebody coming from this side in, and then Mahomes can flip, so he's done that underhanded pass. Or they come off of here, him coming out with receivers to the right side. So they come up, faking that run motion. And what Mahomes is saying is that right here, he expects at the snap Travis Kelsey to come toward the outside. So he's saying that he's thinking as he runs like this, he's getting Kelsey coming like this in front of him. And that's his outlet. However, he says that what Kelsey does do is he kind of engages the end initially and kind of gets pushed inside, but ends up inside. And Mahomes has nobody in the flat for him. He's got Rashee Rice, who's just kind of run a little hook, but there's a defender right here ready to mess with that. So Mahomes says, well, I got nothing, so there's Kelsey behind me. I'll just flip it behind my back. Man, that's pretty cool. We can see it from here once more. So Mahomes is saying that he expected Kelsey to go now. So as they do that fake, Mahomes comes out to the flat, and look, you can't make this throw. We can move it back just a little bit so it's like as Mahomes is still deciding. So right here, there's a defender right here. He theoretically is saying that he expected Kelsey to be somewhere in this region by this point, but Kelsey's over here. And so the only way he had to get him the ball, he flipped it behind his back. Oh, that is cool. Let's see the end zone view one more time. Because how often do you see someone do that? All right, so we've got third down now in the red zone again. And although the Chiefs did not convert, this play was another great example of Andy Reid and his play calling. So we've got the Chiefs set up again in 11 personnel. Carson Steele, Travis Kelce. That means we've got 5-2, 3 wide receivers. Down here we've got Sky Moore, Justin Watson, Rashee Rice. And Carson Steele had started out wide, and he's coming in to shotgun, and you see this linebacker running with him. So we feel pretty good about the fact that we've got man-to-man coverage, manned up, manned up, manned up. And then generally in these situations, you can see, so you see this guy is the guy that's coming. I was just checking to see if these guys might have switched roles, but it looks like he's going to stay with him. So we got a single high. We've got the robber underneath. So we talked about the fact that when you've got man coverage, Andy Reid is really good at running crossers, doing things to get defenders to run into each other to help guys spring open. The other thing Andy Reid is very good at doing is using the fact that you're covering a man to run you out of plays so you can't help. So he will run a lot of his receivers out of the area where he wants the play to go because they take their defenders with them. So if you watch this play, Sky Moore is going to go up the field and his defender is going to chase him. Kelce and Watson both are going to run across the field, and again, their defenders are going to chase them. Rashee Rice runs a route over here. So basically, with Sky going there, these guys going there, Rashee Rice over here, he creates this giant void in this part of the field. And so his goal is to run Carson Steele over here, get him a swing pass, and essentially be unimpeded to the end zone. So then you say, well, what about Carson Steele's man? We just said this guy's covering Carson Steele. Well, he brings Creed Humphrey down the line to be lead blocking for Carson Steele. And this play actually is drawn up really well. So let's see it in action. Here's what we're talking about. Sky clearing out. Watson clearing out. Kelce clearing out. Rice has his man way over there. Here's Creed Humphrey jetting down the line to come be available. So it's all setting up Carson Steele heading out this way. You've got him. You've got a blocker. You've got, look at all these defenders going the other way. Now look where we're set up right here. We've got him blocked up. He is in position here. So Lucas Niang had hands on his man, couldn't quite get him, and it blows up the play. For what it's worth, Creed struggled a little bit staying in front of this linebacker too, but look at how it's drawn up. If this were blocked out and Creed had got hands on him, with this guy headed that way, Carson Steele probably takes this in for a touchdown. What a well-designed play by Andy Reid. It's just too bad that they weren't able to execute. We can see it again, the blocking side of it from here. So Niang is engaged initially, but he's just not able to prevent his guy from getting out to Carson Steele. And as you see, Humphrey's not quite able to get around 42, so that would have been a problem too. But had that been executed well, that would have been a pretty cool touchdown. All right, here's the last play of the film review for this game. This came after Mahomes left the game. So we've got Carson Wentz here at quarterback. We've got our second team offensive line in. And we've got 11 personnel here. Again, we got one running back, that's Carson Steele, one tight end, and 3 wide receivers. In this case, that looks like Sky Moore up top. This is Xavier Worthy, and this is Justin Ross. Okay, so the Lions appear to be in single high, and this seems to be man. 2, 3, all manned up across the board. So it looks like we'll have a linebacker, probably this one, that is our zone guy, and this will be our deep safety. Okay, so now it looks like the Lions are ready for mesh, because if you look, and mesh being what we're talking about, having this guy run across it. Remember, Andy Reid loves crossing guys to get defenders to run into each other. So when you get in these kind of tight red zone situations, he's going to send Justin Ross, he's going to send Noah Gray, and really what it is one of the two people is the one for whom the pass is intended, and the other one is just trying to get in the way of the other defender, of the other guy, to help him run open. But look at how the Lions defend this. They kind of have two guys with eyes on Noah Gray immediately to kind of disrupt him in his route. And look, he does get disrupted, though he's able to disrupt Justin Ross's defender. But the weird part of this play, and I honestly, it must be that they were just like 100% confident we were running mesh, or maybe there's some other part of this that I'm not understanding, is look at the deep safety. The deep safety is just at the snap, like hauling it to help cover Justin Ross. Like, he's there, and let's just follow this guy. He's coming all the way across the formation just to cover Justin Ross. Look at him. Like, how many times do you see a deep person just completely abandon any deep responsibility and go cover a drag route? So it almost seems like they're like really keyed on mesh and just disrupting this route combination. Well, that seems misguided because of who's in the slot. This is the fastest player ever to run at the combine. He has the fastest combine time ever. And let's just watch the route that he runs. He's going to come up and do a little stutter and just blow by his defender. There's a stutter, gone. No deep safety. We were talking about how teams are going to put up 2 deep safeties because of Xavier Worthy. When you have a situation where you're in cover 0, and it's not that you're in cover 0 because of blitz, it's you're in cover 0 because you want to cover a drag route with your safety. This is unfair for his defender. Who's going to run with? Look how much separation he gets, and it doesn't even look like he's running that hard. This is too easy. If teams are going to let Xavier Worthy go down the field without a safety over top of him, he will happily take the long gains. See here how they're really intent on disrupting Noah Gray, and you can see this is Justin Ross's defender. Here is the guy that used to be the single high safety coming down to help on Justin Ross, and because of that, wide open touchdown. It's very exciting for Chiefs fans to see Xavier Worthy making plays like that. We hope that is a harbinger for what is to come this season. That wraps up the Steeler Thoughts and Chief Feelings film review for week 2 of the preseason. If you missed the Steelers-Bills film review, check that out. We uploaded that earlier this week. We also uploaded our podcast where we kind of recap the preseason after 2 games for both the Chiefs and Steelers and kind of discussed our thoughts about what the preseason has shown us and what it may mean going forward. What about us going forward? Well, Chris is off next week. He'll be traveling. And so Lonnie Hoffman, who joined us for a podcast earlier this year to talk about the Tom Brady roast, he will be coming on. And Lonnie is he's an Ohio State Buckeye super fan. So we will be doing a short preview of the Ohio State Buckeyes season, what their team is going to look like. So any college football fans who are interested in Ohio State, we'll have some discussion. I'm a Mizzou fan, so I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about Mizzou season coming up too. We will do some kind of film reviews of the 3rd preseason games, although the starters didn't play for the Chiefs. Full disclosure, I'm recording this right after the Chiefs' 3rd preseason game, so that one already happened. The Chiefs lost, I believe it was 34-21. Chris Oladokun started the game, and didn't look as good as one would hope. Carson Steele looked amazing, though, so there's that for solace. So we will do some film stuff on those games, but probably not a lot because we don't have the starters playing and everybody's kind of in regular season mode. So look out for next Tuesday, an episode with Lonnie Hoffman, and then Chris and I will be back the day of the kickoff of the season. The Chiefs will play the Ravens on Thursday, September 5th. Chris and I will be recording a podcast before that game where we do our full NFL season previews. The podcast will probably drop either shortly before or during the Chiefs-Ravens game. As always, please follow along. We are on Twitter at STCF715. We post a lot of clips that don't make it into our film review too, so please follow us along there. We're also on Instagram and TikTok, also at STCF715. We'll post some shorts from the videos that we put out there. Thanks to all of you for following along with us. For those of you that engage with us on social media and here on YouTube, we appreciate it. Until next time.